Thank you for joining me on my learning journey. Today I'm going to be sharing my learnings on some challenge rules for queens and guards and what happens, when there's an incorrect challenge or a correct challenge, and also about how the game ends. So in terms of challenges, the consequence of either being correctly challenged by your opponent or making an incorrect challenge yourself is that you lose a turn. So, for example, if you made a move, let's just say somewhere, you made a move, say you moved backwards or something, blue challenged that. Now, red would just have to move back to where they were, and that's essentially the same as losing a turn. Now, if you had made an incorrect challenge, say that you were red and blue moved to the side like this, but you said, oh, I challenge you moved backwards, that would be incorrect. And since you made that incorrect challenge, you would lose a turn, and they would just skip your turn because that's the rule for an incorrect challenge. Now, what is the difference here? And that's a difference that is there throughout all of the Math Pentathlon Division 3 games, or I believe all of the Math Pentathlon games in general, is 3 incorrect challenges leads to an automatic loss. So if you make any combination of incorrect and inappropriate challenges, if you get 3 of those, then that's an automatic loss. And so that's the difference between these two. Is there's not really something. I don't think there's a rule like that for correct challenges, but for incorrect challenges, there is. But either way, you don't want this to keep happening to you because you want to get if you've watched my other videos, you know that queens and guards is a race to this final position. So you don't want to keep missing out on turns and giving your opponent extra opportunities to get ahead. So how does this game end? There's, of course, we talked about the goal of the game. There's to get to that position. But of course, like the other Math Pentathlon Division 3 games, there's also the 45-minute time limit. So in terms of the time limit, that brings up the question, is this a round game? And what I mean by that is, say that red played first. Red is here, they played their move. Right then, the timer goes off. So since blue did not play first, would blue get a chance to play their move? Yes, they would. Queens and guards is a round game, so in this case, blue would be very lucky. They got to move their thing in there. Now, if they were not able to win in that one move, let's say that they were over here and it was like so close yet so far, they move their piece there on the next turn, but that's over. The game's over now, and it would just be a tie. And so, again, we also talked about the game ending due to a tie. It could end up as a tie because of this, because this is where we get to kind of a locked position. There's no way that any queen can get in the center there. So it's just a locked position. And the reason why no queen can get into the center there is because if you think about it, this is, a queen only spot. So it's not like a guard could just go in here and then make space around. So it's basically entirely locked. So if this position is there, then a tie is declared. And also, if you reach a point where you and your opponent agree that there are no legal moves that can be made, then a tie is also declared. So in terms of challenging, there's that standard lose a turn rule. Oops, I knocked my camera off. Okay. There's that standard lose a turn rule, but there's also one exception to that rule. And I believe this is with all the games. Yeah. With all the games, if someone declares a win, but their win was incorrect. So let's say they had everything out here and they were like this, and they just push their thing in here and say, I declare a win. Now, could you challenge that? Red could challenge that. They could challenge them saying that the intent of the win was not correct. And due to that, they would actually be handed the win. But that only counts if you are challenging the intent of the win, not if they made some other mistake. If they made some other mistake that doesn't have to do with the intent of the win, then that would just be a normal challenge and the game would resume. And so that brings me to one last thing for this video, then I'm going to wrap it up. And that's, you do have to declare a win in some way. You have to say, I declare a win, I win, queens and guards, something like that to declare your win. So that's it for this learning. Thank you for joining me. I'll really appreciate it if you leave your comments, feedback, and further suggestions for additional learnings below. I'll see you in the next video.